Hello, everyone. I just wanted to talk a few minutes about beans and rice.
I got a darn good notion to let you guys walk to the party.
And canned goods, because, I've talked to a lot of people lately, and there's actually a whole lot of people that started prepping in the last 2 years, or actually for the very first time thought about food storage. And I think when I talk to people who don't quite get it, immediately they will think, oh, this person stores food for an emergency. They must have a lot of beans and rice. Beans and rice, I hear all the time, right? That is what they say, and that is what gets in their head. Beans and rice everywhere, and canned goods, which are great. Canned goods are great, but beans and rice is great. It can keep you alive. It's kept people alive throughout centuries of food shortage and stuff. Beans and rice have nutrition, but here's the thing about beans and rice. People in like an apocalyptic situation are not going to want to eat plain beans and rice for months on end. They're not going to do it. They'll eat it to keep them alive. They'll eat it because they're hungry, but they're going to stop enjoying it if you don't have something to put in it. Like you have to have spices or condiments or broth or something to flavor the beans and rice, because over several months people are just going to be like, you know what, I don't even care about eating anymore. I don't want beans and rice if that's all you have. I would rather die than eat this for the rest of my life because it's bland. And people don't think about that, right? Normal, just everyday people don't think about that, right? They don't think, gee, if we have lots and lots of bags of beans and rice, we'll survive. But will you be happy? Will you be okay? No. And here's another thing about beans and rice that I want to talk about. I know a lot of people who have digestive issues and illnesses where, yes, if they were stuck eating beans and rice every day in an emergency, it might be food for them and they wouldn't be hungry, but they would also die because their digestion or their illness or whatever's wrong with them, the beans and rice would affect them in a way that it would basically dehydrate and kill them or bring on an illness where they wouldn't recover. Can you imagine eating beans every day of your life with no bathrooms around? This beans and rice thing, it kind of upsets me in a way.
I don't think I ever will fit in, not here. I'm different from the guys in this town.
A lot of it is real strange, right? Like people will store pounds and pounds and pounds of white rice, which you probably should store brown rice and wild rice because it has more nutritional value anyway and more flavor. Wild rice actually tastes pretty good even if you don't put anything in it, because wild rice is a grass, like I said before. But like if you're going to store like white rice and like black beans or red beans or kidney beans or mixture of beans, like bean soup mix, and it isn't seasoned, you have to store something to put in it or nobody's going to want to eat it. Because beans and rice alone without seasoning or butter or like broth or something in it is going to be bland and horrible. And even if people are surviving on it, they're not going to want to eat it long term. And canned goods, now I'm thinking like if you store canned goods with beans and rice, you could fix it maybe, right? Because canned goods have stuff in it. But do you want to be like the person who's like, oh my goodness, I have pineapple in cans, I have peaches in heavy syrup, and then I have beans and rice. So my only choice now, if I want it to taste different, is to try putting peach heavy syrup from a can into the beans and rice. Like, or I mean, because you can add liquid from other things into things and actually use it for a lot of things. Pickles and olives have strong flavored juice. It probably could be used in certain things. You could use the juice too. You could drink it if you were dehydrated. Probably wouldn't enjoy it, but you could do it. Although I do know some people who like pickle juice. I don't, but they do. But I would sure drink some pickle juice if it was that or death. Just like I would surely eat beans and rice with nothing in it if it kept me alive. But boy, would that mess my stomach up over a couple weeks. And it's not like we're going to have endless toilet paper if the world ends. We will for a while. We could scrounge, but that's going to be gone because it disappeared even when there was a pandemic. The toilet paper was gone. People grabbed that stuff up so quick. And then they weren't producing enough of it. They didn't expect it for some weird reason, even though they should have expected it. So yeah, no, we're not going to have paper products like we want. We're not going to have all the water that we want. So keep that in mind when you're eating beans every day for the rest of your life. If you're gonna store beans and rice long term and you are going to have that to live on, store a lot of spices, please, or people aren't going to want to eat what you have. They'll just eventually get sick of it. They'll give up on it, or they'll get depressed, because that stuff does matter. Like sensory stuff does matter. People, I don't know, I think about that a lot, right? I think about like, well, now how am I going to feel if I'm eating the same food every day for 6 months? How am I going to feel about it? Well, I wouldn't be happy about it. I'd do it, but I think I would want to change its flavor quite often, at least every week, right? You'd want to change its flavor. So store some cans of hot peppers or something. Get Torado peppers. Oh my gosh, Torado peppers are wonderful. They're very spicy. So if somebody has a stomach problem, no. But if you can deal with spicy food, Torado peppers have like soy sauce and stuff in them. They're very, very good. They're good for flavoring all kinds of things if you really need to. And in an emergency, you could throw them into something that they don't really belong in and they still wouldn't destroy it. La Costeña, fire roasted whole peppers. I think it's Torados or Toreados. I'm not entirely sure about that actually, but they're very good. They are serrano peppers and they are whole, so they do have the seeds in them, but you can always scrape those out if you don't want to use those. But one good thing about these peppers is that the can also comes with pickled pieces of onion inside of it. So that's another thing you could use separately, together, add it to something, chop it up. They're very, very hot. They have a very high spice level. And not everybody would enjoy that level of spice. I like it, but I don't have to use a lot of them at one time. They seem to last a while, and if you don't want a lot of hotness, you can just use them a little bit at a time. But the onion is very useful. I didn't even know that was in there when I first bought these. I found these at Walmart. I also have found them at like local individually owned or family owned like Mexican stores and stuff. They are made in Mexico. Produced in Texas, and yeah. So I just want to let you know about that on my little weird rant about beans and rice, I guess. And I will talk to you all very soon, and I will link a few channels in my description that I think you should check out, or things that I enjoy watching. People that I watch, some preppers, some not. I watch a lot of things, but yeah. Anyway, this is just a quick video. I am not doing my review today, or I'm working on a review though. I'll post that separately. And thank you for watching. I'll talk to you soon.